Incoming message from planet Earth. A virus has been released. A virus that no one can cure, quarantine, or prevent. It has ruined humanity, killing the majority of its population and sparing only a limited group of people. Those that have contracted the disease but have not died are far worse off. There is no way to stop it. No way for 7 lifetimes. The Eighth Round, written by T.C. O'Reilly, is a science fiction tale that brings together a zombie-infested Earth and the element of time travel in a new and refreshing way. Gifted with powers he doesn't understand, Jakes has experienced life and lifetimes for 7 rounds. The virus has ripped apart humanity time after time, and Jakes has been forced to watch as his world is destroyed. This time, in his 8th round, he is determined to never let it happen again. With the help of experts, family, and unexpected friends, Jakes will strive to finally end this virus before it begins, uncovering his past, his unexplained abilities, and the people who want to kill him for both. The 8th Round, available now through the Amazon Kindle Marketplace. Also be sure to keep a lookout for Kindle Countdown deals and free giveaways on Amazon.com. Good evening and welcome to the Matthew Danko Podcast.
Don't call it that.
I'm your host, Matthew the Dr. Danko. This is a special edition of the Matthew Danko Podcast because I'm here again with one Miss Jesse Pardee. Say hi.
Hi.
So, we're in New York City, the city of apples. We're in a transition period. Or I should say you bought this place up in Brooklyn, which we'll be moving to, but right now we're in your old apartment.
We didn't buy a place in Brooklyn.
Oh, well, no, we're renting a place.
We're renting.
Brooklyn. Sorry. But it's a really cool.
We both would want a place.
Yeah, sadly we're both poor. But we've been looking for a place, and it was kind of weird how we found one. You wanna?
I was working in a hotel and just kind of happened to mention to one of the doormen that we were looking for somewhere to live.
And this was after breaking down. Because,
yeah, I had several breakdowns over
because
trying to find
it
a
was
place.
so stressful finding a place. And every place we liked or that, we wanted to go see, there was some stupid glitch. Either the person wouldn't show up, or the place didn't actually exist, or it was in another state. Weird shit. Just all over the place. But after getting off the phone with, was it me at the time, or was it your mom?
My mom.
Yeah.
I had a breakdown to my mom.
And then you just happened to go outside, and somebody asked you how you were doing, and
I just said, I'm a little stressed trying to find a place to live. And he just said, oh, you want to rent a basement apartment in Brooklyn?
Like out of nowhere. After all I even went to an apartment rental agency. I don't even know what they're called. Not like a broker, but it was
a realtor.
A realtor. That's the official name for it. An apartment finder place. And we were just having no luck, and then all of a sudden this guy just was like, here, live in my basement.
And it's not, like, sketchy, though.
No,
it's kind of
it's
like,
not
it's a furnished basement with a kitchen and a bathroom, obviously.
Yeah.
We were worried for a little while it didn't have a bathroom.
She wasn't sure if we had a
I didn't
bathroom
ask if it had a bathroom, I just assumed that it did.
Yeah. But, I mean, for $1,000 a month, between the both of us, that's pretty cheap. With being furnished and everything, washer and dryer, like, it needs some fixing up and some of our touches, but
it's nice. A good transition apartment to save money and
sure. And I think, while we save money there, depending on how long we end up staying there, because we don't really know, because the house is on the market, technically.
Yeah, they're selling their house, but even if they were to sell, I guess closing would take like 3 months.
Yeah. But that's for another problem. if we ever come to it down the road. Right now, we're just focusing on moving out of this place. I kind of like it. It's just
really hot right now.
Yeah. It was hot in the winter because...
It's always hot.
They kept the heat on constantly, which is, I guess, good.
But cranked up.
And you have no way of controlling it. It was just always on.
Well, and I mean, that heater is in this room, so...
Yeah. And with 2 people in this room, it's a rather small room, plus all your stuff. Yeah. It's going to get hot no matter what. And you had to keep the door closed because of the cats. Yeah. So it was just a clusterfuck. But I'm really excited to move to the new place. I'm excited to set it up and all that.
I was just thinking how funny it is that, like, in real life, you're really shy.
Yeah.
And I'm not outgoing,
You're
but
bubbly.
I'm chattier than you are.
Yeah.
But, like, you're so comfortable doing a podcast, and I'm, like, I feel awkward.
Well, I think most of it is because, I've kind of been doing it a while. I mean, officially, I've been doing it for 4 years now. Or, no, not even. Probably 3 to 4 years. But technically, I only have 17 episodes. Because I've done them so infrequently. But also, it's kind of like being on the radio. I'm not actually talking to anyone specifically. So I'm not worried about
But you're, like, so animated and...
I don't know. My podcast is just something that I've always wanted to do, I guess. I used to do video journals for myself. Just put the camcorder, like the family VHS camcorder, up and talk to the camera. And be like, when I die, here's what everyone gets. I've done a few of those.
Excuse me.
It's a lot different when you're not physically talking to somebody. I mean, obviously, I can... anybody I do a podcast with, I can talk to because I'm still doing the podcast. So I'm kind of doing it with them for the listeners. Also, I don't know how many people listen to this show. I imagine enough people know about it because of the way I've been branding myself and advertising it now that I've uploaded them to YouTube. I feel like...
I didn't know you uploaded them to YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, the other show that I do, the Guys Talking About Shit podcast, which I think I have been plugging every episode since they've been created, they don't have theirs on iTunes, which is where I started mine, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying they decided, well, it's easier to just upload these audio files to YouTube because you only need, like, a picture, and then you can make a short little video out of it, kind of. And they also do a lot of video game footage and things like that. Mm-hmm. So that medium works for them. They, I think, upload theirs to SoundCloud. I tried to do the least amount of work possible, so I upload these to a government website where they store all the audio files, which means I don't have to pay for space. They do theirs to SoundCloud, which I don't think you have to pay for either. But...
You giving information to the government?
Technically. But I don't know what they're going to do with an hour and a half of me talking about Batman. But they can do whatever they want with it, I guess.
I don't know. What was it, like 1 month into our dating that I had to be interviewed by somebody from the government?
Yeah.
Regarding an ex-boyfriend.
Which was so, I mean, like, I get it, because of the profile of the job, like... Yeah,
we're not going to say where, like, but...
It's just a government job.
An ex-boyfriend of mine was applying for a job working for the government,
and they had to, I guess, do an extensive background search.
And they, like, found me. I got out of ballet class one day, and I had a voicemail.
There was a black car, and these guys in black suits came out and cornered her and said,
no,
we need to interview.
Didn't. No, but he was like, I'm in Pittsburgh to see you. Can I meet you at Starbucks on Friday at 4:30?
It was so weird. Because I went with you just to make sure it was all legit and shit. I guess they do that. I never thought... I mean, it makes sense because of government jobs, but, like...
The best part was, like, when we got finished, he was just asking me questions about, like, my life. And, like, I was like, hey, I go to Point Park. And he was like, let me ask you, do you know such and such who goes to Point Park? I'm supposed to be doing, like he started asking me about some other investigation or whatever he was doing. I don't
crazy.
know.
I don't think I knew that.
It was a very bizarre experience, bringing my new boyfriend to my government interview regarding my ex-boyfriend.
I mean, I don't know. It was just like this guy wanted to interview you that works for the government because they're doing a background check on it. Someone else. It sounded like private investigation work to me, and I just wanted to make sure things were copacetic.
Copacetic.
So yeah, we're here in New York now. I'm enjoying the city now.
Are you enjoying it?
I am. It's so weird because I don't know if it's set in. Because like when I would visit, I'd always go down to Times Square and like go to Toys R Us and go to the comic book place. I haven't been to a Midtown Comics since I guess like last week, which I know sounds weird.
I haven't been to Midtown Comics in a week.
But like normally when I'd visit, I'd go at least like every other day, just because there's always something to see there. And at, Toys R Us, I like to visit the animatronic. Toys. Well, the toys are always a big draw, but there's only so many toys you can look at at a chain like that. If it was a mom and pop shop, you would get a turnover. Yeah, I like saying that.
Matt likes to say mom and pop shop.
Because it sounds good. It rolls off the tongue. The mom and pop shop. Plus, Pittsburgh has a lot of mom and pop shops. Like Too Groovy. If you're ever in Pittsburgh and collect toys, that's the place to go. Because the owner's real nice. His wife used to own a place.
But they don't have... Wait a minute. Didn't you tell me you got me a Gigapet?
Yeah. That's at home.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry. I packed all my shit and I left.
It's this big!
It's not even that big. It's this big.
It was even in a package, so it's this big.
Yeah. I didn't get it there, I don't think. I got it at a mom and pop shop. No. I got it at a yard sale.
I don't care where you got it. Why isn't it here?
Because
it was this big.
I didn't even bring any of my comic books. I'm not going to bring
a comic book is this big. A Gigapet is this big.
Yeah, but I travel everywhere with my comic books. At least one. I didn't bring any. I didn't bring any of my toys either. You think I'm going to bring a Gigapet? I'll get it the next time I go home. I was going to say,
the mom and pop shop he's plugging does not have Tamagotchis.
No, because a lot of places don't. They don't
Why?
have... Because they're harder to find nowadays. I mean, granted, there might have been one place that had them in the package, and they're like $30 a piece. Not that you're not worth $30, but like, I needed to know exactly whether you wanted a Gigapet or a Tamagotchi.
And I wanted a Nanopet.
I know.
Which is neither.
I couldn't find a Nanopet. Didn't you buy one, though? Didn't you buy a Tamagotchi when you were in college?
Probably.
When you were living at the car lot.
Yeah, but it was weird. It I never got it to work because it wasn't one of the classics. It was like a modern knockoff.
Yeah, but you also had a Game Boy, which I don't know what happened to because you wanted to play Pokemon. Which now we have a red Pokemon cartridge, or Pokemon Red for everyone else who calls it that, and a gold Pokemon Gold.
From the classic.
Yeah, there's a Game Boy Advance and a purple Game Boy Color. I haven't had a Game Boy Color in forever.
I lost a purple Game Boy Color when I was, 12.
I gave away a purple Game Boy Color to my daycare.
And
an idiot.
It had Pokemon Blue in it. And I was so... I had a Blastoise.
Yeah.
And I had already beaten Gary, 4 times. I was trying to get to the point where I guess you could, go find Mewtwo or something on there.
Yeah. There was some...
I never found him.
Yeah, how was that?
Because I lost it. I think I lost it at my psychiatrist's office.
You were 12?
Yeah. I've been going to a psychiatrist for a long time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't think you ever said that. Or I just always assumed it was after everything.
No, I was diagnosed with OCD when I was little.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It started,
You heard it here first, folks.
I know, right? Matt's getting to know me.
After
getting to know
4 years.
I started out when I was, in 2nd or 3rd grade, I was having, like, all of a sudden one night, I couldn't sleep for one night, and then the next night I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to sleep again, and then it was just, like, a vicious cycle. Like, I kept kept
not
thinking,
sleep, like, straight up just stay
like,
awake in bed, or
you
just kept tossing and turning?
Well, you know how, like, you eventually fall asleep, but, like, you still
like you drift
are
in and out.
Like, when you wake up, you're like, I didn't sleep last night.
Oh,
even if you slept, like
straight through. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Even if you only slept, like, based on how long I was staying up awake in bed, to me, it felt like I wasn't sleeping.
Right.
But then after that, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to go to bed and I'm not going to be able to sleep again. Oh my god, I'm going to go to bed again. So for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, like, I had psyched myself out that I wasn't going to be able to sleep, and I was, like, getting horrible sleep, and it was awful. And so my mom took me to a psychiatrist who, I don't know if he, like, was originally the person who said that I probably had OCD.
Who diagnosed you?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you even know this. Do psychiatrists diagnose?
I don't know. It's like set.
There's psychiatrists and psychologists.
Well, I went to both. Okay. This guy was just to talk to. He didn't prescribe anything.
Okay, so I think that's
psychiatrist.
Psychologist. The psychologist, I think you talk to. The psychiatrist, you get pills from?
I don't know.
I don't either. Look it up. Google it.
I should know, but... And he said, like, we tried... I don't know. He said to my mom, put her to bed in her own bed, and make her stay there.
Like, you couldn't get her out of bed?
Yes. Okay. Until this problem is taken care of.
Oh, shit. Not even just for the night. Right? Like, you had to just stay in bed until you fell asleep?
No. But, like, every night. Like, until it, right?
I thought he, like, she can't leave bed until she's fucking asleep.
No, but every night, like, put her to bed, and even if she cries and, like,
so kind of like the,
like you would do it with an infant.
Yeah, exactly.
But my mom, like, if you tell my mom to this day, she's like, oh my god, I feel so terrible about that. I really feel like that was the wrong, like, he gave me the wrong information, because I was literally
screaming and
miserable. And I wet myself in the hallway one night because I had to pee, and I was not, like, told I was not allowed to get out of bed.
So you were like, I gotta stay here.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I wet myself in the hallway, like, on the way to the bathroom. Like, I peed on the floor. And I cleaned it up, but I didn't tell anybody. Like, I was, like, sneaking around. I know it's gross, too much information.
No.
But then...
No, they don't give a shit.
But
Nobody's
then,
even listening to this episode.
Alright, turn it off.
No, come on.
Gradually...
I'm gonna listen to it in the future.
Gradually, like, more things... Are you gonna keep interrupting?
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is my show. This is the Matthew Danko Podcast. If you wanted to do Times Squared with Jesse Pardee, we could be doing that right now. No, continue. You have my permission to go.
Gradually, like, things just started happening. Like, at one point, I was convinced that everything... Because there was an incident with the babysitters where, like when I went through this phase where, like, I lied about everything to everybody. I told somebody at the babysitters that I lied about... Or no. I came home from ballet class one day because I wanted to get attention. And...
Sounds about right.
I told... What?
I'm just kidding.
I told my parents that I had gotten kicked in the face at ballet class, and, like, that, like, this girl was mean to me and, like, kicked me in the face by accident, but didn't say sorry, and, like, so then I decided, like, I was gonna go, like, full force with this story.
Oh, no.
So... When my mom dropped me off at the babysitter's, I took this blue, I've never, like, really shared this story with anybody. I took this blue marker with me, and in the garage at my babysitter's because I would always, my mom would drop me off and I would go in through the garage and then go into her house. And then get on the bus later. In the garage, I went in the corner and I, like, put blue under my eyes, because I was going to tell everyone at school that I had gotten kicked in the face at ballet class.
Now, like, was it because you didn't like this girl, or was it just for
I don't
the sake
know,
of
I just wanted attention. what probably happened is somebody at school probably was on crutches for some reason, and everybody was giving them attention.
So you're like, I'm gonna color my eye.
I'm gonna color my...
Because I got
But
nothing.
the babysitter, as soon as I walked in, the babysitter was like, what the fuck did you put under your eye?
Yeah, she knew right away that it was bullshit.
Yeah, so she called my mom, and my mom, like, confronted me, and
you had to
like,
tell her
that was, it was then I realized, like, oh, like, lying is bad, I'm gonna get in trouble. So then, OCD kicked in full gear, and I was afraid that everything I said was a lie.
Like, even if
I
telling the truth?
was, like, telling you something I knew to be true, or, like, I believed to be true, I would be like, I ended every statement with, but I don't know. I don't know.
Just to cover your tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
The sky is blue, but I don't know.
Or it's like turquoise, like, just sometimes it's purple. I don't know. That's how all my statements were. And then I like, was convinced that I was scratching everything. Like, I would, like, be afraid that I scratched someone's desk, or, like, I scratched a piece of furniture, or, like, I scratched. So, my mom took me to another one of those doctors to talk to, and then I started seeing, like, the people who prescribe you medication, and then, like, the person I was talking to wasn't helping, so my mom found me another one, and I went to this one lady who was, like, it was her job to prescribe, because at that point, like, I needed, like, they were gonna put me on medicine for OCD, and, like, I mean, you still talk to them and tell them, like, what's going on, like, what kind of compulsions you're having.
Yeah.
Why you need the medicine, basically. And they prescribe accordingly. But this lady was a total fucking, like, queer ball.
Define
like,
queer ball.
I don't know. She was just, like,
obnoxious? Or didn't believe?
She was obnoxious, yeah. And she, like, she was one of those psychiatrists or psychologists or whatever they are that, like, reads into everything. And I know that's, like, their job.
But, like, she would go overboard.
Like, okay, so my first day at the psychologist, I was shy.
Yeah.
Because I was a fucking kid and you brought me to a doctor that I hadn't been to before.
Stranger.
So then, from that point on, every time I met with her, one of the things she would ask was, so, how are you doing with your shyness problem?
So she would, like, diagnose you with shit.
Yeah, it'd be like, well, I don't have one. And my mom would try to, like, you know, my mom, she'd be like, Lynn, I don't think she has a shyness problem.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, oh, okay. And then the next week she'd be like,
the same thing.
how's the shyness? And I'd be like, bitch, I'm not fucking shy. And, like, I am in certain situations, but so is fucking everybody. It wasn't a problem. And then I remember on 9/11, my dad took me, it was like 2 days after 9/11.
Yeah.
He took me to my appointment, and she asked me how I felt about 9/11. And I was like, I don't remember exactly what I said. Obviously, like, fucking sad.
Yeah.
I didn't understand everything, but
you're still
it was pretty momentous. I was in 5th grade. Yeah. And my dad, and I don't think he, like, meant to open a whole can of worms here, but he was like, tell Lynn what bothered you the most. Or, like, what really made you upset. I mean, obviously the whole thing bothered me a lot, but he was like, tell her what really made you, like, cry that you saw on TV. Like, because I did cry and I said to her, I cried, and this is very reluctantly, because I hated this woman.
So you didn't really want to open up to her, but at this point, it was kind of powerful.
And I wasn't, at this point, like, I'd been to enough, like, head shrinkers, quote unquote, that if I felt comfortable with them, I would talk. Like, I wasn't, like, trying to be defiant, but I just hated this lady. She was, and honestly, she was terrible.
Yeah.
She was terrible at her job. But I was like, I told her, I was like, well, I saw the people in other countries celebrating on 9/11, and that made me really sad, and it made me cry. because I remember the news showed clips of people in certain countries that were, like, celebrating in the streets and, like, having parades, and, like, that made me sad. And she was like, she made me read, like, a whole, like, this cartoon about bullying. She made me read, like, it was like a comic strip about bullies. And I just remember being, like, reading that, she made me read it aloud. And I remember thinking in my head, like, what the fuck does this have to do with everything? Like, are you trying to say that the terrorists are bullies? Because that's the fucking understatement of the century. Yeah. Are you trying to turn this into, like...
treating you as a child.
And I was like, I was, but I was old enough to understand what was happening. Like, you didn't have to sugarcoat things. But regardless, like, I didn't see the point to it. She, like, made it this whole thing about bullies and, like, are you trying to turn this into a teachable moment about, like, me and bullies? Or, like are you trying to talk about America or terrorism? Like, I was like, I don't understand what you're getting at here.
You're trying to get out of it. Like, the fact that bullying exists.
This isn't making me feel better. Like, thousands of people are dead.
Yeah.
This little comic strip about bullying is not...
And by 5th grade, I mean, you kind of understand what bullying is, I think. On a basic level, trying to bring it in to teach a 5th grader, like...
I understood a lot when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah. But I don't see the connection, really.
I don't either. I didn't. I still don't to this day.
Well, shit. I didn't know any of that.
But yeah, I've been seeing head shrinkers.
Well, I think I knew you had OCD a long time before. I didn't know necessarily that you would go... I mean, I guess I should have made that connection on my own. That you would go see them.
Well, like, it was probably shortly after 5th grade. Like, maybe the end of 5th grade or 6th grade that, like, for a while I was very stable.
Yeah.
And my freshman year, I was so stable that they were like, okay, maybe we can taper you off this medicine. And maybe you won't be off the medicine.
Yeah.
But you'll be on a lot less of it. And I remember doing it, and, like, they kept dropping it ever so gradually. And I was fine. And then they dropped it one more time.
And that was too much.
And all of a sudden, I was a fucking mess. I was a fucking wreck.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing this other lady. I don't remember when I started seeing her.
And the other one lost her job.
What?
When the one that didn't know shit lost her job.
Oh, no. I stopped seeing... After a while, my parents caught on to how terrible she was and just switched me to somebody else. And then I think he was terrible, too. Like, I think he got arrested for something. Or, like, he was being looked into for not paying his taxes. I don't know, something like that. But then I started seeing this other lady, and it might have been 9th grade when I was tapering off.
Yeah. But in your defense, I mean, granted, I don't know what it was like when you weren't taking your medicine. But you're not super crazy. Like, I don't want them to...
No, and...
We're not painting a picture of you being a schizoid.
No, and I was talking to my mom about this the other day. I wonder now, looking back, if I had been misdiagnosed as not... I wonder if I don't have OCD, I just have anxiety, like a general anxiety disorder. Because I don't, like, do rituals. I don't have to, like, turn the light switch on or, like, not that that's the only ritual that people with OCD do, but...
I mean, the only, to be honest...
I think they went to OCD because, like, I had compulsive thoughts.
Everything I know about OCD...
I did go through when I was first diagnosed, I was going, like, one of the things, but this was, like, right when I was diagnosed, so there was a whole bunch of things happening all at once that, like, sent me into a tailspin. It was when I was worried about lying, it was when I was worried about scratching things, and I, like, clicked my teeth all the time.
Yeah.
Like as a nervous habit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, like, that was something that they were like, that's a compulsion, or whatever.
See, I think it could be one of each. Like, it could be a compulsion, or it could be an anxiety. Like a nervous tick.
Well, anyway, my mom and I were just talking about how, like, if I went in today with the same symptoms, they would probably just diagnose me as having an anxiety disorder.
Yes, I mean, from the time I'd known you, I would diagnose you with anxiety over OCD. Just because I know how much you think about things and how you can work yourself up kind of into a lather, if you will, about certain things, and I get it. You're constantly thinking. Which isn't a bad thing, it's just something that can stress you out. That's Dr. Danko diagnosis.
Thank you, doctor.
Hey folks, it's Matthew, the Dr. Danko here, with some terrific news. Now recently, I started using the service through a website called Fiverr.com. That's Fiverr.com. Now, Fiverr is one of the easiest ways to get paid for doing shit you're good at. Basically, it's a site that allows you to offer up your creative services and skills for $5 a piece. Say you're really good at, graphic design work or animation. They'll tell you exactly what they want, you'll do it, and boom, you get paid. Or perhaps you have a really sexy voice that someone wants to use in a commercial for like cologne or perfume or jeans even. They will pay you to do that voiceover. All you gotta do is sign up. Now, there's a shit ton of services available for you to order. Maybe you're looking for somebody to write a short story for you because you're easily bored and you want somebody to work. There's that route. Or you can take the other route, maybe the road less traveled, and become one of those people that gets paid for that stuff. Show the world what you have to offer and start making that fat cash yourself. And it's so easy. All you got to do is you sign up through Fiverr. It's free. You don't even have to make usernames and all that shit. You can just sign in through Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or anything like that. And then you write up a quick post about what it is you can do. And boom, that is it. That's all you need to do. Then you just wait. You can wait for people to come flocking to you because they will, because they're looking for services that you provide, and they'll order shit. It's just that all that money's just sitting there, and you get paid for doing the shit you can do. How sweet is that? Now, I know you're thinking, $5 for all my hard work? I want fucking a steady salary. I want to get paid hourly for this shit. Danko, you're killing me here. Well, don't curse the darkness just yet, my friends. You can also customize your services. Additional prices for everything like early delivery or different requests. And even if you don't do that, if you just stick with the $5 base plan, that shit adds up real quick. Now imagine if you get one order a day for a week. That's $35 extra that you didn't have before. Say you get one order a week. That's still $20 by the end of the month. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love an extra $20 in my pocket at the end of every month. And that's shit you can spend on anything. I mean, food, movies, comics, sex toys if you're into that. It doesn't matter. That's an extra $20 you didn't have before doing the shit you're already doing. Now, I only started this last week. I'm already 3 orders deep in this advertising shit. So I'm also sorry if I'm cluttering up your news feed. Luckily, it's not Jonathan Taylor Thomas, for those of you that hated that. But these people are contacting me, wanting me to advertise on my podcast and across all my social media platforms. Imagine all the people that I follow, that follow me, are friends with me on Facebook, like my shit on Instagram. So my service gets the widest range possible, and they can do it for $5 a piece. Maybe I should charge more, but I think $5 is more than fair. And it's so simple to just set up the account. And if you feel like, maybe a week or two has gone by and you haven't gotten any orders, then you can request gigs. People will post in the community message board things that they're looking for. You can request a gig. Now, anybody can do that, so they might have 10 people requesting the same gig. But for $5 a piece, if 5 people respond, they might feel like, $25 to see all these different people's take on what I need. Boom. Simple to do, easy to do. It's definitely worth it. So seriously, friends, women and countrymen, check it out at Fiverr.com. That's Fiverr.com. Fiverr, the marketplace for creative and professional services. Hey dear, drop everything and read, or better yet, drop everything and write. Now it's easier than ever to publish your own book using nfpublishing.com. For as little as $79, you can get the resources needed to publish your own book. You know that novel or short story you've been working on for months? Now you can turn that year's worth of Mondays into a physical copy of pure awesome sauce. Now, eventually, when I find the time to actually finish it, like we all do, we start writing something and throw it away in the dusty bin. But when we come back to it and we've, finally got a handle on it, we want that shit to be real. We want our ideas to be a reality. And this service, nfpublishing.com, is one of the quickest, fastest, and easiest things you can do to get your book made. Or maybe not. Maybe you don't even have a novel. Maybe you just have somebody you love and care about, a family member, a significant other, and you want to show them how much you appreciate them. Now you can give them a gift that'll last forever. Immortalize it in print. All the details you can find on nfpublishing.com for home publishing, and the coolest thing is, you can contact them directly through their site. They will set you up with your own personal agent that will help you meet your needs. They provide the services of a big company, but treat you with the customer service of a small company. And it's for as low as $79. I would seriously consider checking them out. I mean, there's nothing easier than this. nfpublishing.com.
Then when I was diagnosed with cancer, then it was shit hit the fan. It was she needs 10 shrinks, and I remember they brought in the shrink that I had been seeing when I was in 9th grade, who was kind of this tough love lady,
kind of like that nurse, in the same way,
what nurse?
I don't even know if I know her name. Wasn't there a nurse that was maybe it wasn't a nurse, maybe it was a doctor, that was real tough, not real tough, but
would rag on me?
Yeah.
Dr. Sills.
Yeah, the guy who called you pig-headed.
Yeah. But it was not like this. He actually had a real, got to the point where I really liked him and he liked me.
Yeah.
And it was ragging on me more than tough love.
Yeah, okay.
This lady was just and I guess it wasn't tough love, it was just that she was tough. But she was trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
There was never a amiable, I really love
right.
Dr.
She was
Sandy.
just
She told it like it is. But I remember she came, they brought her to the hospital to talk to me, and she just sat there in the chair next to me and couldn't figure out what to say.
Yeah.
She just said the standard so how does this make you feel?
Yeah.
Shit. That was the last time I saw her. Yeah. But enough about me. I just talk about myself for.
This is your show.
It's my show.
It's just on my show. So I'm also sorry for all of the background noise, because it is super hot in this apartment, which we've already established. So the windows are open and the fan's going, and we don't care. We just want to be cool.
Well, you care.
I do care because I'm also a sound guy, and if I was listening to this shit in my headphones, I'd get all these background noises, and then I'd be freaking out about how I have to cut it all out in post. But luckily, I don't do a whole lot of work with this, so it shouldn't be too bad. But let's see, the other thing we did while I first got here, we went to see an awesome movie. I can't stop thinking about it. The Gift.
That was when you first got here. That was 3 days ago.
Yeah, well, I've only been here for 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, you got here, August 3rd, August 4th? Sorry, I just turned on Netflix by accident.
Really? I got here August 4th? I thought I got here after the first week.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Because I don't think I was here the first week. Doesn't matter. A movie we recently saw.
I still had a full week of work, didn't I?
But you were going to end.
Oh, you
weeks.
Got here on a Monday?
No, because I left on a Tuesday.
Oh, wait.
Because I always leave on generally a Tuesday. 10:20. From Greyhound Station, Pittsburgh.
You left August 4th.
Oh yeah, my mom's birthday. That's right. Shit, I've been here for a long time.
1, 2. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow.
Happy anniversary. Well,
But then, like, you figure you got here, we went home for a weekend.
oh, that's maybe why I'm misremembering it.
So you really, like, you were here for 2 days.
Yeah.
You really didn't get here till August 10th.
Okay. So we were both right.
Or 9th.
Well, in any event, we saw this movie a few days ago. But I still can't stop thinking about it. I don't know, I just really dug it. It's called The Gift, and it stars Jason Bateman and some other people. Sadly, I don't know their names.
She was good. I want to look up her name.
Good.
She's worthy of looking up her name.
Yes, I didn't mean like I don't care about her. The only one I went to see was Jason Bateman, and he delivered in every possible way. He delivered the gift, if you will. See what I did there?
Haha.
Alright. But, also, like, I don't remember seeing many trailers about it. Obviously, because I haven't owned a television cable system.
There's been commercials on TV for it.
No, I'm not saying there haven't been. I'm saying I haven't seen any. Because I don't really have I didn't have cable at home.
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall, wait. She's in a lot of things. Hold on. That name sounds so familiar. I feel like such an ass for not... That's the thing about... You know, technically I'm supposed to be in the movie business, technically. And I don't know shit about anyone. I don't know names. Oh, she might be in the VFG. So she was in Transcendence, Iron Man 3, holy shit. The Awakening, The Town, she was in The Town. She's probably a lead character. Dorian Gray, Frost Nixon. So she's clearly The Prestige. I think I do remember her in The Prestige. It was her and I think Scarlett Johansson was in that role. Not that role, but they were 2 female leads in that movie, I think. Have you ever seen The Prestige?
No.
It's a Chris Nolan movie, but it's like about magicians and Christian Bale and fucking Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, wow. I wanted to say Hugh Grant, but that'd be a completely different movie. They're just magicians, and it's about, like, the art of illusion, and it's a really awesome film. But this film, The Gift, she did a fantastic job. She knocked it out of the park, and Jason Bateman, I think, in a role that I haven't really seen him in. I mean, apart from that one movie with Zach Braff, he played the boyfriend that was in the wheelchair. Jason Bateman did. I'm gonna look it up. But he played this, like, asshole character, and Zach Braff was supposed to be this guy. He was kind of the lead, but Jason Bateman was... I gotta look it up. Jason Bateman has some weird roles, and I think he's an excellent actor, and he just... I mean, most people know him from Arrested Development. He plays Michael Bluth, the main character.
He was one of the Hangover guys, too, right?
No.
No?
No, that's Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms.
Oh, Ed Helms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zach
Sorry.
Galifianakis. It's alright. He was...
Not me.
Have you ever seen Dodgeball?
Yeah.
Okay, he's one of the announcers during the tournament at the end. F&A, Cotton, F&A. He has like this... We have some mic difficulties.
It's hot in here.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can push the mic off the bed. He has like... Oh, fuck. I'm gonna have to cut around all of this shit.
We also have to cut out how much we're paying for rent.
Why?
I don't know. It's weird sharing it.
Why? We tell people on the streets that. People we know.
$1,000. We want people to think that we're rich.
Sweetheart, stop doing that. We're not rich. We're poor.
We're rich.
He was in Horrible Bosses. I mean, maybe more people know him in Horrible Bosses because it's... Maybe more people know him in Horrible Bosses because it's more of a prominent...
I didn't fart. I didn't. I swear to God. It was...
He's in The Change-Up with Ryan Reynolds. I'm ashamed that I have to look at his IMDb page because he's an excellent...
Jason Bateman?
Yeah. He's in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, briefly. Hancock. Juno, he was the dad in Juno.
Who's dad in Juno?
The husband and wife, it was Jennifer Garner.
Oh, okay.
Jason Bateman. That was J.K. Simmons, wasn't it? Juno's dad?
Yeah.
He was in The Breakup. Scrubs, he was in an episode of that. I mean, he also had his own shows back in the 80s, I think. Silver Spoons. He was in Teen Wolf 2. I mean, this guy fucking... Granted, nobody really is like, oh, Teen Wolf 2, because Michael J. Fox was in Teen Wolf, the original, and that's all really anybody cares about. But anyway, Jason Bateman's an awesome actor is the point I'm trying to make. And The Gift was a role I haven't really seen him in before because he plays this kind of... Well, he's a bully. Spoilers. I don't want to give away plot points, but he's kind of a bully and he's a real asshole sometimes. And the whole plot is like this guy he went to school with finds him, recognizes him, and tries to be his friend, kind of. And all of a sudden, he gives him this gift, like, here's a bottle of wine, welcome to the neighborhood, and things like
he
that.
moves back home.
Yeah.
And they're shopping for stuff for their house, and they see him at the store, and he overhears what their address is, and he starts dropping off gifts for them. And
but it's like right on the borderline of being creepy, but being friendly. So the whole time you're like...
I guess that stuff was like a bottle of wine.
Yeah. Like that's a normal
like
housewarming.
Welcome to the Neighborhood wine.
Yeah. And then, like, he visits them for some reason, just to see if the guy's Simon, which is Jason Bateman's character, is home. And his wife starts talking, because she works from home, starts talking about things they're going to do to their house. So the next gift he gives them is, like, he fills their koi pond with water and fish. And so, like, he constantly drops off these gifts for them and does things for them because it sounds like he's trying to be their friend, but as you'll see in the trailer, because I'm not really giving this part away, is like, this guy isn't truly stable, or there's something off about him, but you're not sure what it is. And obviously the movie goes into that, and it's marketed as a thriller, so it really delivers, I think. I mean, I don't know, what did you think about it?
I loved it.
Yeah?
Because it wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be.
Right. I mean, I don't even know if I should say what I thought it was going to be, because if I say that, it implies it wasn't that.
I just thought it was going to be like your typical stalker movie.
Yeah, like this guy keeps showing up in places or calls.
But it wasn't like that.
No, it was also kind of like a social statement in some ways about like how you treat people.
High school never ends.
Yeah, like really simple shit, but it was very gripping and very interesting, and like I didn't get bored watching it or was like this is taking too long. I think the movie is like. Was it a short movie, you think?
We started at 8, and we were out of there by, 10 after 10.
I'm sure maybe it's a little longer than your typical thriller.
Wow.
But it can't be much longer.
Maybe 10 o'clock. I don't know.
My point is...
45 minutes?
Yeah. Maybe that's about right.
Previews and...
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of, previews and shit. For movies that didn't interest you in the slightest.
No.
A lot of boy action movies like The Transporter Refueled and Hitman, Agent 47, which is shit.
And James Bond.
Oh, yeah. But to be fair, you didn't know it was a James Bond thing when we were watching it. Because you don't... Do you know that Daniel Craig is James Bond now? Or doesn't that register to you?
Daniel Craig is James Bond?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like Casino Royale. Have you ever heard
These
of
words mean nothing
Quantum
to me.
of Solace? Like those? Skyfall? You had to heard of Skyfall
I've
because
heard
of
the
Adele.
song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Skyfall.
Yeah.
It's the only part I know.
That's, I guess, all you need to know, but...
It won awards, didn't it?
I think so. Wait, the song or... Yeah, I'm sure it did. But anyways, after all the previews, the movie actually was very gripping, and I didn't feel like it was dragging on or that the information wasn't necessary. Like everything I thought fit, and the ending's kind of ambiguous in a way
Oh, yeah.
because you have no fucking clue. I'd like to say I know, but I don't know.
Well, it's impossible to know, because they don't tell
Yeah.
you.
Well, yeah, but I like thinking the way he thinks. If you put yourself in the mind of that character, you have to imagine that that would be his decision. Like, if you watch anything for a long enough period of time, like the X-Files or Doctor Who or something, and you watch how the characters operate in certain situations, eventually they'll come into contact with similar situations in the future, right? Because, well, with Doctor Who, there's so many fucking episodes that eventually they're going to do some of the same stories in some of the same ways. But they'll change key details to make it new, quote-unquote. But if you focus on the character and you watch the character long enough, you can understand how they think and what decisions they make, whether or not they're the right decisions or they're something that the writers are just doing for the hell of it. Like, if you go on to message boards on the internet all the time, people are complaining if characters don't make the decisions that they know they should make, because as a fan, you just get wrapped up in it that you feel like you're in that mind state of the character, so you, like, I mean, like Han Solo, for example, going to Star Wars because it's going to be coming out soon, and people talk about it all the time.
But you know it means nothing to me.
I know it means nothing to you,
So
but
I don't
I'm
know
going
what
to
your
have to...
reference is going to be right now.
That's why I'm going to have to explain it.
Okay.
In the original Star Wars trilogy, there's a scene where Han Solo is in a bar. You might have heard it referenced on The Big Bang Theory for the episodes that you've seen, or just in general because it's a pretty big point of contention between Star Wars fans. There's a scene with Han Solo in the bar with a character called Greedo. In the original cut of the trilogy, Han shoots Greedo. There's like a standoff. He draws his gun and shoots him, his blaster rather. Okay? But George Lucas eventually goes back and enhances his films. And adds characters that weren't there before, adds some CGI, adds things to each edition of the film. And in one edition, he makes that character Greedo shoot first. Now, Han Solo shoots him and kills him in the original cut. But in the retouching, I guess, of that scene, Greedo shoots first. Han still kills him, but Greedo shoots first. And there's this whole thing with people like, Han shot first, and you probably heard it. It's fucking mentioned in a lot of the Kevin Smith 90s movies. And definitely in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. But that's the way it was in the original, so that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. If you go online, there's a lot of people arguing why Han needs to shoot first because he's this, like... Because he's like an outlaw, rebel type character. He's an anti-hero, and it makes more sense for him to shoot first because he does these things in the future events and shit like that. And they hold that as sacred. So, characters have a way of growing on you, and you start to learn about how they function in the world that they're put in. My point is that based on the gift and the way this guy seems to operate and how, relationships are in the real world, I'd imagine I know the ending. I still don't because it's ambiguous and the directors and writers haven't said what it is, and the movie kind of just ends not knowing. So I can't say 100% for certain that I don't know. Or that I do know, rather. Mm-hmm. But I think I do based on what I'm given.
And after all that, we can't even tell...
I know, we can't even fucking tell them what happens because I don't want to spoil it. I should just say fuck it.
It's a good movie, though.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm not spoiling it. If it was an alright movie, or if it was still a good movie and I liked it, I'd probably just say spoilers, and go into it. But I think this is a movie that is worth seeing. And since we're doing this podcast relatively close to when we saw the movie, you should definitely watch it. So don't even,
It's worth the price of admission.
Oh, for sure. And,
even by New York prices.
Yeah, fuck. I know it's $10 normally, but it's like $20 here.
I was a little high. It was like, the
theater
we went to was $14.50.
But even still, in Pittsburgh, that's the price you pay for a 3D movie. Or an IMAX movie. So it's a little bit more, but I didn't care that I spent that much on that movie. And that's saying, because we spent that same price on Poltergeist. Which, again, I talked about it on another episode somewhere, I think. Wasn't terrible.
I thought it was terrible.
It wasn't what it could have been, I guess. Which is very shitty to say because it's another person's telling of the story that's already been told. But, Sam Rockwell was good, which is the only reason I'm saying it's not terrible.
Oh, yeah, he was. I did like him a lot.
Sam Rockwell is an excellent actor. Another one that's it's like Jason Bateman. You might not know his name, maybe. Probably a lot more people know Jason Bateman's name now, that he's in Horrible Bosses and shit like that. And he's been in so many other good movies. Identity Thief. They know Melissa McCarthy, so they probably know Jason Bateman. But,
Hangover.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Just like Christopher Walken in Spaceballs.
Shut up.
But Sam Rockwell is a terrific actor that, the first role I saw Sam Rockwell in was Galaxy Quest. A movie that you're never going to watch because Tim Allen's in it.
I can already tell. Well, don't
it's
even get me started on Tim
movie.
Allen, I can tell you from the name of the movie, I am not going to watch it.
But the idea of Galaxy Quest, and Justin Long's in it too, and Sigourney Weaver and Alan Rickman, they're all in it. But they play a Star Trek, they had a role on a Star Trek type show. And it was really big and really popular by fans, so they keep going to these Comic-Cons and, doing guest appearances and things.
In the movie?
In the movie, yeah. And Sam Rockwell's character is Guy. That's the name of his character. He plays, an extra that dies in some episodes. Nobody really cares about him or knows. He's kind of just in the background. But he still shows up to these Comic-Con events and, pretends he's one of the crew and things like that. And this alien comes from this other planet, this real alien, and says they need the help of these characters because they've seen episodes of their show, but on their planet these shows aren't shows, they're documentaries. And they have constructed this ship that's on the television show from watching episodes. So they make this functional ship, and they need Tim Allen's character, who's the Captain Kirk character, to pilot it with his crew to save them from this other alien that's threatening their world. And Tim Allen just thinks this is a gig, and he's just being brought by some fan to this set and doing just a promotional thing. But it turns out they get blasted into space, and they realize that they're the only thing that can help these aliens from this evil alien. It's a really good movie, and it's a really funny movie. Justin Long plays a super fan that like helps them because he's seen every episode, knows how to like maneuver through the ship at one point. It's an awesome movie. But again, since Tim Allen's in it, you probably won't watch it. But Sam Rockwell, that was the first role I saw him in, and then I think I saw him in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, another sci-fi movie, but it's based on the books rather. It's a really good movie. He was in Safe Men with Steve Zahn. It's just fucking... He's an underrated actor. He's in the movie Moon. I mentioned Moon to you. It's another space movie. But he's, like, in this moon base. He's the only one up there because he's working for this company on Earth.
He's a musician, right?
No.
Oh.
Musician?
Maybe I started dreaming.
He's kind of... yeah.
I started dreaming.
Yeah,
I closed my eyes and I started dreaming, but listening also because I could tell you where we are in the conversation.
Yeah?
Yeah. But I thought we were talking about what he does in the movie, and I thought he was a magician.
A musician? A magician?
A musician, but I
musician.
just said
it's
magician.
It's a magic musician. I watched that.
I literally started
a rabbit out of his
dreaming
snare
in the middle of that conversation.
Yeah,
but I was listening to
I'm so boring.
No, I'm
just falling asleep.
Getting sleepy. It's late.
Touching the mic.
I worked all day.
I know. Well, now you're working all night. We're almost done here, folks. But
he's a magician, right? Wait, I meant to say musician. Again.
But Sam Rockwell is just an excellent actor. And I don't even know why. Poltergeist was... I don't want to say it was beneath him because it's... It's fucking with the mic, right?
No, it's not.
The mic's down here.
So
you, by tapping on the thing, it was...
I just want to see how much we got.
I don't know, does it tell the time? It does. We're at an hour.
How can you tell?
Because it says 59:22.
Oh.
We're almost done.
No, I don't want to... I'm not saying that because I want to be done.
I
closed my eyes down. I started dreaming a little bit, but I was still listening.
Okay.
Because I knew what we were talking about, and I was dreaming
well, he
about
does
a
rock
musician.
well.
Yeah. You mentioned a movie called Moon.
Yes.
And I,
He's a musician, right?
I've never, ever heard of that movie before.
I definitely told you about it, because I wanted you to watch it.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you did tell me about it. And I thought...
But I've never heard of it before.
No, but, it's a movie that I didn't mean I never heard of it before, but I had no idea what the characters were. But for some reason, I was like, he's a musician, right?
I mean, maybe you're crossing over, because Guardians of the Galaxy, he's not in that movie. But Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he plays a rock star type character. He's not technically a musician, I don't think. Or maybe he is. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. So you might be thinking of that.
I don't think so. I think I was dreaming.
Yeah, I think you were dreaming too. But Moon, he's the only man running this moon base. He's collecting energy to send back to Earth, and Kevin Spacey plays this robot. But he has this accident out in his moon rover, and is brought back inside and is woken up. But eventually, he realizes that, he tries to go outside for some reason, outside of the moon base, and the robot, Kevin Spacey, doesn't let him. And he thinks it's weird, so he starts getting suspicious, and eventually he goes out there and finds this crashed moon rover, and there's somebody inside it, so he brings that body inside, and it's himself. There's this whole plot where he's been cloned, and he's nearing the end of his contract with his company, and every time the contract is coming to an end and he thinks he's going back home to Earth, he dies. They kill him, and they just pull out a new clone because it's cheaper to clone an astronaut than spend all the money training a new person and sending them up there. So this guy has lived many, many times over, and there's this whole place underneath the moon base of all these clones of his character. And they just wake up a new one and start him up, and he thinks he's 2 weeks left and he's going to be done. Or he thinks he's just getting, it's fucking weird.
Wow.
But it's a really good movie, and the whole thing is, it's just him. There's barely any other characters in the movie. Kevin Spacey's a robot, so it's just his voice. But Sam Rockwell carries that movie from beginning to end, and at one point it's just him and himself. 2 different versions of himself. One that's going through psychosis, and one that's trying to figure things out. It's a really excellent movie, and despite the science fiction aspect, I think you would really like it.
What?
Yes.
He's a musician.
He's a musician.
He's a
musician.
A musician, right?
Which is a magician and a musician. So, where were we?
Musician.
Poltergeist. Poltergeist wasn't worth the admission price. The gift was. And Han Solo shot first. But
who did he shoot? I forgot.
Greedo. But
Mario.
But I guess...
Have you ever seen Gattaca?
Now, I think we talk about this all the time.
I know, because it's a movie that I saw in school once, and I never saw it again, but I thought it was so cool.
It's like is it a Reese Roman Troy type movie? No.
No,
Or is it
Gattac. Like, it's like the letters that make up the genetic codes.
Yeah. So it's a science fiction movie.
Yeah, it's like in the future, and they can make children artificially. Like, you can take your genes and, like, manipulate them to make your children, like, be perfect.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's about this guy who, like, he has a brother who was made, like, the genetically modified way, but he was conceived through sex, and he's a second-class citizen because of it. Like, because everyone else is kind of like a super.
Yeah. There's an episode of The Haunting Hour like that.
It's The Haunting Hour.
R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour, that show I always talk about.
Yeah.
Only instead of, like, genetically modified the robots. Yeah, it's a really fucked up episode, but it's good, and it's for kids. I'm always going to pitch that show because I think more people should watch it.
Yeah, it's, like, not really for kids. So
it's like Goosebumps was scary when we were kids.
Yeah.
But, like, maybe it's because kids nowadays are desensitized a little more than we were. But, like, there are some episodes that I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Because they're pretty messed up. I mean, we watched an episode, I think, together once. The Lily D episode, the doll.
Yeah, we watched another one, too, though.
Dead Bodies.
Where...
The kid, like, this was the one with the greaser?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that episode fucked up?
Yes.
Because the greaser, like...
That episode was sad. It was like...
It was sad. And it just ends. The main character doesn't get what he wants. Like, this kid that nobody really is friends with. He might have 1 or 2 friends, but he's not... He's like an average kid who stares at this girl from afar because he likes her and doesn't have the courage enough to ask her out or whatever. And there's these bullies that pick on him, and then eventually this greaser comes in and is like, you know, I can help you kind of fight off these bullies because that's what they are. He's like, why are you helping me? And he's like, because when I do a favor for you, eventually you'll do a favor for me. And it turns out the fucking greaser is a ghost and died in the school, like, because these bullies locked him in this place, threw firecrackers at him, and then this part of the gym burned down or whatever. And he essentially trades places with him. And now the main character, who was this kid and nobody really liked, dies. He's the one who died in that fire. And the greaser gets the girl because when the kid actually gets the courage to ask her to dance, he swoops in and is like, oh, were you stood up or some shit? And he just winks. I'm like, but then they kind of, I think it's a cop-out, but later, in a later season, they do a follow-up episode.
Really?
Yeah. It's not as good as ending that episode. Well, the girl and the greaser have been dating for like a year now or something. And I don't know if he goes to school or whatever, but he works in this auto body shop. And the kid, who's the ghost now, he's like, kind of like stalking the girl and this greaser. And basically he's trying to tell her that, he's dead and he's trying to find a way back. And the episode ends with them switching places again. And technically he gets the girl somehow. But, it's totally taking away from what the episode did establish. Granted, it doesn't take away the fact that the first episode exists, but if you're watching it, in order of the episodes, seeing that episode kind of resolves it in a way that you didn't want it to be resolved. So then you're stuck knowing that episode exists too, and you're like, well, this is how that story's supposed to end. And it shouldn't. It should end with that first episode, with them switching places. But then there was another episode that I watched recently. There's so many good episodes, and they do kind of like I guess Goosebumps might have done it a few times, but kind of like American Horror Story, where they use some of the same actors with different characters. So you get to see some of the faces in previous episodes again. There's this one episode where there's 3 boys. For the sake of it, we'll call them Mark, Luke, and John. Okay, John is this... He's kind of like the weakest of the 3. Kind of like on a borderline of being a good kid and being bad. He's kind of hanging out with the wrong type of kids, but he's still a bad kid in some ways. And they go out to egg houses. And so they egg this one house, and then, they run. They egg this other house, and they run. And they egg this third house of this, old woman who they think is a witch and all this shit. She's like the cat lady in the neighborhood, so all these cats are always hanging around their house. Really creepy from a distance. And they go to egg her house, and I'm not sure if they break a window or if they just are trying to run away. And the John kid, the good, half-decent kid, trips and breaks his arm. And the 2 kids leave him behind. But when the woman comes out and this John kid can't leave, he makes up this story I tried to stop the 2 kids that egged her house. And she doesn't believe him fully, but goes by what he says. So eventually it gets back to the cops, and he becomes this rat, essentially, telling on the 2 boys. But the boys don't rat him out because they're not rats. And so he has a cast, and he's kind of, I think he's stuck at home for a while to recover. He's kind of just watching things. And he starts getting paranoid. It's going to come out that he was lying, that he was actually there. It's going to come out that he was lying and that he was actually there egging the house too. But, he thinks he hears something in his cast.
Oh.
And so he starts scratching it and is trying to get it like you do with the cast, but Jesus Christ. So he starts scratching at his cast, and, like, he's paranoid that he hears something in it, but he just thinks maybe it's, just being cooped up in the house all day or whatever.
Right.
And the noise gets worse, and he starts itching a lot more, and eventually, like, these cats start showing up at his house that he knows belong to the cat lady. So he thinks, like, this cat lady knows something, and he's also losing his mind a little bit because he feels like he's going to get caught. And eventually a police officer comes to his house and asks him about it, and gets him to be in, like, the neighborhood watch, kind of. And his mother, he's really clingy to, like, they're not like a Norman Bates type clinginess, but, like, she doesn't let him do much. Tells him it might be good for him to go out of the house and, like, walk around a bit to protect the neighborhood because he protected that old lady from those kids that threw the eggs. And he runs into the... sirens right now. And he runs into the two kids that were with him, that he's friends with, that are doing community service work that he should be doing. And, it just keeps getting to him that he's this rat that snitched on these two kids. Till he's, like, in class, he goes back to school, and, like, the kids were pulled out temporarily or something, suspended, I guess. And, like, he's itching his cast with this pencil. And all of a sudden the pencil is, like, not coming out of his cast, and he pulls it out, and there's chew marks on it. And then later in the episode, he sees this bump, like, show up in his cast, moving around, and he's like, there's something in here, there's something in here. And his mom, who's putting her ear up to the cast, is like, there's nothing in there. What are you talking about? So eventually she goes, like, he's at home by himself, just sitting there, trying to get some sleep, and his mom went off to go grocery shopping or something. And he's freaking out because the sound is getting louder in his cast, and all these cats are showing up. And I don't know, I can't say for certain, I don't know if he sees a rat tail come out of the cast. But all these cats are trying to get to the cast because he thinks that there's a rat inside the cast. And, like, the cat lady shows up at his house. In his mind, though, like, I don't think she actually shows up at his house, but all these cats appear. And he's like, I gotta get this cast off, there's a rat inside it, I gotta get it out. And he goes to the kitchen and gets a knife and starts sawing the cast. And at one point, like, it cuts. Like, the scene cuts, and it jumps to his mom coming out of the house in an ambulance, coming with a stretcher, and she's like, I came home and the cast was on the floor and he was still cutting. He was cutting into his arm with the knife. They didn't show it, but saying that in a kid's show, that, like, that's intense. But they're like, you got there just in time, luckily he didn't go through or anything like that. And they, like, he's losing his mind, he's like, I got him out, I got them all out. Like, freaking out on the gurney, and they put him into the ambulance, and the episode ends with, like, well, the cat, like, there's this whole scene outside of the house, and all the two boys that taunted him saying he was a rat were watching this happen, and the cat lady is kind of like, not smiling, but she's kind of like, you got what was coming to you, kind of. She doesn't say it or anything, but you can kind of tell it's what she's thinking. And he's in the ambulance, and the paramedic is in the back with him, and he starts talking to him, and it's like, I got them out. I got them all out. Now, if we're really quiet, maybe they'll just go away. And it cuts to, like, this shelf in the ambulance with all these rats just, like, piled up falling all over each other, just scurrying about as if they were in his cast, and he's like literally insane at this point. And it's like, maybe they won't bother me anymore. Because eventually he does tell the truth, like, I was the one that egged them. But as he's going insane. So the episode ends with him in the back of the ambulance manifesting these rats that aren't actually there, and him getting stitches because he tried to cut into his arm. It's a fucked up episode for kids that I wouldn't have imagined in today's, like, sheltered society, how people, treat their kids and all the type of media they think they should watch and all that shit. Like, they get pissed off at the slightest thing. This show is so good, and I'm so glad it exists, and it's still making episodes, but it does what Goosebumps does, or did, and Are You Afraid of the Dark did, by throwing a little lesson at you, telling it to you in a scary way, because it's a scary show. But it's entertaining, it's well written. I think I talk about it once every other episode. So I think I'm done talking your ear off about The Haunting Hour, because like I said, I probably talk about that episode, or that show every chance I get, because it's such a good series, and I think more people should watch it.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I think
they take it off.
No, like the first 2 seasons I think are on there, or maybe the first 3. I don't even know what channel it airs on, because I don't think it airs on Cartoon Network, but since I don't have cable, I have no clue. But if you can, watch that show, I'll keep saying it. Go watch The Gift, because that's a fucking awesome movie. And go support Sam Rockwell and Jason Bateman, because they're great actors. Was there anything you wanted to add? Sometimes OCD is anxiety.
And,
and are delicious.
What can I learn today?
What can you learn today? You learned all kinds of things.
Today's episode is brought to you by the letter O.
For
Oreo.
Yes.
And opals and bananas.
Well, thank you, Jesse Pardee. And hopefully, the next time we talk, we'll be settled into our new apartment.
Woo!
Up in Brooklyn. Which
Down
we've
in
paid
Brooklyn.
$1,000 for.
Midwood.
Yes, Midwood. For our own show, because right now we're on the Matthew Danko Podcast.
I know.
But we're going to be on her show. Our show. Hopefully called Times Squared with Jesse Pardee. But we might rework that title.
Working title.
That's just what I've been calling it. Because it's good
what you've
times.
been wanting to call it.
Squared with both of us. It makes sense. And we're in New York.
It's just kind of like...
I know what it is.
Like you've got a sitcom in New York City.
I know.
Called Times Square.
That's fine. I'm the first one to...
It sounds like a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie.
Yeah. Only they did that. New York Minute.
But another one. Like when they were younger and cuter.
No, those movies were like Mary-Kate and Ashley take Louisiana or something.
They took Louisiana!
They took it by storm.
They took it.
Again, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I love you.
She loves you, and I love you. Anybody who's listening, I'm just glad you're listening, because we do this for you. No, we do this for ourselves, but if anybody listens, we love the support.
That's good, too.
Yeah. So, thank you, guys, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Matthew Danko Podcast.
Don't call it that.
I'm your host, as always, Matthew, the Dr. Danko, with my lovely guest musician, magician, assistant.
I'm a musician.
Jesse Pardee.
Woohoo!
Peace!